The origin of the drum: in every corner of Africa, the beat of the drum is heard, steady, powerful, alive. Its rhythm carries across villages, through forests and over plains, calling people together in joy, sorrow, in worship, and in dance. To many tribes, the drum is more than an instrument. It is a gift from the spirits, a bridge between earth and sky, between the living and the ancestors. One legend tells of a time when the world was silent. People spoke with their voices, but their hearts longed for something deeper, a way to connect with the rhythm of the earth itself. The Creator heard their longing and sent a great spirit to carve the first drum from the trunk of a sacred tree. Skin was stretched from the hide of a lion, giving it courage, and its hollow body was filled with the breath of the wind. When struck, it spoke with the voice of the earth, deep and resonant. At first, only the elders knew how to play the drum. They used it to call the people to gatherings, to announce births and weddings, to summon warriors, and to honor the dead. Each beat carried meaning, a language without words. To hear the drum was to understand, not with the mind, but with the heart. Another tale tells of a young boy who wandered into the forest and found a magical drum guarded by spirits. Spirits told him that if he played it with pure intentions, the drum would bring harmony to his people. But if played with greed or anger, it would bring only chaos. The boy returned home and played the drum with love, and from its sound came laughter, dancing, and unity. From that day, the drum belonged to the people, reminding them that music is sacred when born of the heart. Across Africa, drums became storytellers. Their rhythms spoke of battles fought, journeys taken, rains falling, and crops growing. At night around fires, drummers guided dancers into trances, their movements echoing the heartbeat of the land. The drum was also a messenger, carrying signals between villages across great distances, its sound rolling like thunder through valleys and plains. For many tribes, the drum was the heartbeat of the community. Without it, life felt incomplete. With it, every gathering, every ritual, every ceremony was alive. The people believed that when the drum was played, the ancestors drew near, listening, smiling, and sometimes joining in the dance. Even today, the drum continues to carry its ancient magic. Its rhythm reminds us that life itself has a beat. The beating of hearts, the rising and falling of breath, the footsteps of people moving together. As you drift into sleep, imagine the sound of a drum in the distance, slow, steady, like the rhythm of your own heart. Let it guide you into dreams where ancestors gather, spirits dance, and the earth itself hums in harmony with you. The eternal fire of the ancestors in villages across Africa. Long after the day's work was done, people gathered around the fire. Its glow warmed their faces. Its smoke rose toward the stars, and its light pushed back the shadows of the night. But the fire was more than warmth. It was a sacred symbol, a living bond between the living and the ancestors. Too many tribes, it was said that as long as the fire burned, the spirits of those who came before would never be far away. The fire was believed to be a gift from the gods, carried down from the heavens in lightning or brought forth by the first ancestors. It was never taken lightly. Families tended their hearths with care, knowing that to let the fire die was to let the bond with the past weaken. Every spark was a reminder that life itself is fragile but enduring. A flame passed from one generation to the next, in some stories. The ancestors were said to gather in the flames themselves. When the fire crackled, it was their laughter. When the embers glowed, it was their watchful eyes. Children were told that if they listened closely, they could hear the whispers of their grandfathers and grandmothers and the hiss of burning wood, offering advice, comfort, or warning. One tale tells of a young warrior who left his village in anger, forgetting the ways of his people. Alone in the wilderness, he grew cold and afraid. But one night he dreamed of the ancestral fire, glowing bright in the darkness. He awoke and built a fire of his own, and in its warmth he heard the voices of his ancestors guiding him home. When he returned to his people, he carried new wisdom, never again turning his back on the eternal flame. The fire also marked life's great moments. When children were born, flames were lit in their honor, welcoming them into the circle of life. When elders passed away, fires were kindled to guide their spirits safely to the world beyond. At weddings, drums and songs rose with the fire, carrying joy upward to the ancestors who joined in celebration. For the people, the eternal fire was both comfort and reminder. It said, "You are never alone. You walk with those who walked before you." Even when grief struck, the fire burned as a promise that the ancestors still watched, still cared, still guided. As night deepens and you close your eyes, imagine sitting by such a fire. The stars shine above, the flames flicker softly, and the air is filled with the quiet hum of voices older than time. Feel their warmth, their protection, their love. The eternal fire is not just in the wood or flame, it burns within you, carrying the strength of all who came before. And so, the fire of the ancestors glows on, unending, eternal. A light in the darkness, a warmth in the cold, a promise that we are always part of something greater, forever connected by the flame of memory. The chameleon and the message of death among the many tales of Africa's ancient tribes. One of the most poignant explains why humans do not live forever. It is the story of the chameleon and the message of death, a gentle legend passed down through generations, reminding listeners of life's fleeting beauty. Long ago, the Creator wished to send a message to humankind. At that time, people lived endlessly, never aging, never dying, yet the world was growing crowded, and balance was slipping away. To restore harmony, the Creator decided to bring death into the world, not as punishment, but as part of the great cycle of life. Still, the Creator wanted humans to know that death was not the end, only a passage. To deliver this message, the Creator chose two messengers. The first was the chameleon, slow but careful, who carried the message of eternal life. The second was the lizard, swift and eager, who carried the message of death. The Creator sent them both to humankind to see who would arrive first. The chameleon, with its patient steps, made its way across the land. It paused often to change its colors, blending with leaves, branches, and stones. It moved slowly, thoughtfully, carrying the promise that life would continue forever. But while it crept along, the lizard sped across the earth with great haste. Quick and determined, the lizard reached the people first, declaring, "You shall die. Your lives will end." When the chameleon finally arrived, carrying its message of eternal life, it was too late. The people had already heard the lizard's words, and the Creator's decree had been sealed. From that day forward, humans would live, grow, and eventually pass into death. Yet within this sorrow was wisdom. Death was not a curse, but a rhythm, allowing space for new life to be born. The tribes told this tale not to frighten, but to comfort, reminding their children that death gives meaning to life. That every sunrise, every embrace, every breath is precious because it does not last forever. The chameleon, though too slow, still carried lessons of its own. Its ability to change colors taught that life itself is about adaptation. It's about moving with the seasons and blending with the world around us. Its patience reminded people that haste often brings loss, while care and thought bring wisdom. Even in failure, the chameleon remained a gentle teacher at night. When elders told this story, children would listen quietly, their eyes wide with wonder. Some imagined the lizard racing through grass, tail flashing like lightning. Others pictured The chameleon, steady and calm, shifting from green to gold as it crept toward its destiny. And in those images, they felt both the sadness of mortality and the beauty of life. As you drift into dreams tonight, imagine the chameleon beneath the stars moving slowly but surely across the branches. Its colors shimmer softly, reminding you that life is precious, fleeting, and worth cherishing. For though the lizard's message arrived first, it's the chameleon's wisdom that lingers forever. The Zulu battle of thunder and lightning high above, the plains of southern Africa, where the skies stretch wide and storms roll like giants. The Zulu people told powerful stories of thunder and lightning. These were not merely storms of nature, but the battles of mighty beings, spirits whose quarrels lit the heavens and shook the earth. The Zulu believed that Umvelankanji, the god of the sky, controlled thunder and lightning when he was pleased. Rains fell gently, nourishing crops and filling rivers. But when anger stirred in his heart, the heavens roared, and lightning split the sky like a spear of fire. For the people, every storm was not just weather, but a message from above. Legends tell of two great spirits who ruled the storm. The thunder spirit was a fierce bull, his hooves pounding across the clouds, his voice echoing in rumbles that rolled through the valleys. The lightning spirit was a swift bird, its wings flashing fire as it darted through the storm. When the two clashed, thunder roared and lightning struck, and the earth trembled beneath their fury. Yet these battles were not endless war. They were part of the balance of the world, the reminder that power and energy are needed to keep life strong. Without thunder and lightning, the rains would not fall, and the earth would not drink. The Zulu saw storms as fierce, but also as blessings, cleansing the land and renewing life. Children, listening to these tales, learn to see storms not as something to fear, but as proof of the god's strength. When lightning flashed across the sky, they imagined the great bird soaring, its wings glowing in fire. When thunder rumbled, they pictured the mighty bull charging across the heavens. And when rain poured afterward, they smiled, knowing the battle had brought life to the fields. There were also stories of ancestors riding the storms, their spirits traveling in the flashes of lightning to visit the living. Some believed that when thunder roared, it was the voice of ancestors calling to their children, reminding them to live with honor, courage, and respect. To ignore such voices was to risk angering both the spirits and the gods. For the Zulu, the storm was both warning and promise. It showed that power must always be respected, that anger can destroy, but also that strength can heal. Just as thunder follows lightning, every hardship is followed by renewal. And so, on stormy nights, when the skies above shook and glowed with fire, families gathered close inside their huts. Elders told the stories, their words weaving comfort through the fear. The storm outside was no longer chaos, but a grand tale unfolding above their heads, a tale of spirits, balance, and blessing. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine the bull thundering across the sky, the bird flashing with fire beside him, their battle fierce yet beautiful. Feel the rhythm of the storm, powerful but protective, reminding you that even in chaos, there is harmony, and after the storm, peace always returns. Mami Wata, goddess of the waters, across the rivers, lakes, and coasts of Africa, whispers tell of a mysterious spirit, a goddess of beauty, power, and mystery, known as Mami Wata. Her name means Mother of Waters, and she has been honored for centuries by countless tribes. To hear her story is to step into the rhythm of flowing rivers and the endless song of the sea. Mami Wata is often described as half woman, half fish, like a mermaid with long flowing hair and skin that shines like the moonlight upon water. Her eyes are said to be enchanting, drawing those who see her into a trance. She appears with treasures of the sea, pearls, shells, mirrors, and gold gifts that glimmer like sunlight dancing on the waves. Legends say Mami Wata can bring blessings or misfortune. To those who respect her, she grants wealth, health, and protection. Fishermen prayed to her before setting sail, asking for safe journeys and plentiful catches. Families left offerings of coins, sweets, or flowers by the water's edge, hoping to win her favor. Women called upon her for fertility and guidance, believing she could bless them with children or healing, yet Mami Wata could also be dangerous. Some tales warn that she lures careless men into the water, never to return. Others say she tests the hearts of those who meet her. If they are greedy, seeking only riches, she vanishes, leaving them empty-handed. But if they are humble and faithful, she grants them abundance beyond imagining. One story tells of a poor fisherman who met her while casting his nets at dawn. Startled by her beauty, he dropped to his knees, offering the little food he had. Touched by his humility, Mami Wata blessed his nets. From that day forward, his family never went hungry, and he became known in his village not as a rich man, but as a man of gratitude. Mami Wata is not only a goddess of wealth, but also a symbol of balance. Water itself can bless with life or destroy with floods. So too does she embody both generosity and warning, reminding her people to respect the forces of nature. To live in harmony with water was to live in harmony with her. Even today, across Africa and beyond, shrines to Mami Wata are tended with care. Her image appears in paintings and songs, her name whispered in prayers by riversides and seashores. She remains a spirit both feared and loved, mysterious yet ever-present. Like the waters, she commands. As night falls, imagine sitting by a quiet river. The water glimmers with starlight, and from its depths rises a soft, enchanting figure, her voice like the flow of waves. She smiles, offering blessings to the humble, a warning to the greedy. In her presence, you feel the timeless rhythm of water, powerful, eternal, and endlessly soothing. The baobab tree, tree of life, in the heart of Africa. Rising tall and wide against the horizon grows the baobab tree, a giant unlike any other. With its thick trunk and branches that stretch upward like roots, it looks as though it has been planted upside down. To many African tribes, the baobab is more than a tree. It is a sacred being, a gift from the gods, and a symbol of resilience, wisdom, and life itself. The baobab is often called the tree of life because it provides so much. Its hollow trunk can store water during dry seasons. Its bark can be used for cloth and rope. Its fruit is filled with nourishment, and its shade shelters both humans and animals. The people who live near it, the baobab is not just a plant. It is a guardian of survival, standing steady through the harshest droughts and the fiercest storms. Legends tell of how the baobab came to look so strange. In one tale, the gods created trees and placed them carefully across the earth. The baobab, however, grew proud and arrogant, boasting of its beauty. Angered by its pride, the gods pulled it from the ground and thrust it back upside down, so that its roots pointed to the sky. From then on, the baobab stood as a reminder that humility is the root of strength. Another story tells of a time when people were suffering from thirst and hunger. They prayed to the gods for mercy, and the gods answered by planting the baobab. From its fruit came food, from its trunk came water, and from its shade came rest. The people gave thanks and honored the baobab as a living temple, a reminder of divine generosity. To many tribes, the baobab also carries the spirits of ancestors. They believed that when the wind whispers through its branches, it is the voices of those who came before, offering guidance and comfort. Sitting beneath its wide canopy, people shared stories, sang songs, and passed down wisdom. Knowing the tree itself listened and remembered, even in times of hardship, the baobab stood tall. Warriors, travelers, and families looked to it as a symbol of endurance. Its thick, gnarled trunk told of age and resilience, as if the tree itself had lived countless lifetimes. To walk past a baobab was to be reminded that life can withstand drought, fire, and time, and still stand strong. For children, stories of the baobab were bedtime tales of protection. Parents told them, "Sleep well, for the baobab watches over us. Its roots reach into the sky, its spirit guards the land." And so the tree became not only a symbol of life, but of comfort, strength, and eternity. Tonight, as you drift to sleep, imagine resting beneath the wide shade of the baobab. Its branches stretch above you like protective arms, its trunk strong as a mountain, its spirit whispering softly in the breeze. Let it remind you that even in the harshest deserts, life endures. Steady, ancient, and eternal. The Zulu sun and moon story, long before clocks measured the hours, people looked to the sky to understand time. Among the Zulu people of southern Africa, stories explained the great dance of the sun and moon, how they rose and fell, how they chased one another across the heavens. These tales were more than explanations of nature. They were reminders of balance, light, and harmony. In one legend, the sun and the moon were once close companions, shining together in the sky. They were like siblings, radiant and proud, but their light was too much for the earth below. The rivers boiled, the fields burned, and the people cried out for relief. The gods, hearing their pleas, decided that the two could no longer share the sky. They placed the sun in charge of the day and the moon in charge of the night, each ruling in turn so the world could rest. From that moment on, the sun blazed fiercely by day, its warmth bringing life to crops and people. The moon, softer and gentler, glowed at night, watching over sleepers and guiding travelers with its silver light. Though separated, the two remained bound in rhythm, each following the other, never meeting, but always connected. Another tale tells that the moon was once brighter than the sun, glowing with a pure silver light. But the sun, jealous of its beauty, threw ashes upon the moon's face, dimming it forever. That is why the moon waxes and wanes, sometimes shining full and bright, other times thin and hidden. Yet even in its faintest form, the moon still holds quiet power, reminding us that gentleness is as important as strength. For the Zulu people, the sun and moon were not only lights in the sky, but living beings with personalities and feelings. The sun was strong, fiery, and proud, sometimes too proud. The moon was calm, patient, and humble, content to guide in silence. Together they taught that the world needs both energy and rest, both fire and calm, both day and night at night. When children asked why the moon followed them as they walked, parents would smile and say, "The moon is watching, keeping you safe." And when the sun rose after long nights of storms, people felt renewed, reminded that no darkness lasts forever. These stories, told in soft voices around fires, comforted those who listened. They explained not only the sky, but life itself. For just as the sun and moon take turns, so do joy and sorrow, work and rest, beginnings and endings. Balance was the lesson hidden in their light as the night deepens. Picture the African sky, vast, dark, and endless, with stars glittering like diamonds. The moon glows softly, steady in its watch, while the memory of the sun waits patiently. For dawn, let the rhythm guide you, reminding you that every day ends in rest, and every night ends in light. The great lion spirits in the wide savannas of Africa. Where golden grass sways beneath endless skies, the lion has always been more than an animal. To many tribes, the lion is a spirit of courage, a messenger of the gods, and a guardian of the people. Its roar is not just a sound, but a voice of power that carries across the land, reminding all who hear it of strength and majesty. Among the Zulu people, the lion was seen as a symbol of kingship. Just as the lion rules the animals of the plain, so a leader must rule his people with both strength and wisdom. Tales tell of warriors who carried lion skins into battle, believing the spirit of the beast would fill them with bravery. To wear the mane was to carry the sun's fire upon your shoulders, a mark of honor and power. The Ashanti people of West Africa told stories of lions as messengers between the human world and the spirit world. It was said that when a lion appeared near a village, it was not a predator, but a sign, a reminder to live with courage, to act with honor, and to protect the community as fiercely as a lion guards its pride. In these stories, the lion was less an enemy and more a teacher. One legend speaks of a child lost in the forest. As night fell and shadows thickened, the child trembled with fear. From the darkness came the glow of eyes, a great lion stepping softly from the trees. Instead of harm, the lion lay beside the child, keeping watch until dawn. When villagers found them in the morning, the lion rose and walked away, silent and proud, leaving behind only paw prints in the dew. And for generations, the story was told as proof that the spirits of lions were guardians, protecting the innocent when no one else could, but lions were also reminders of respect. Some tribes warned that to kill a lion carelessly was to invite misfortune. Only warriors of great honor were permitted to hunt them, and even then, it was done with prayers, asking the spirit of the lion for forgiveness. To take its life was to take on its power, a responsibility not to be carried lightly. For the people of Africa, the lion embodied balance. It was fierce but noble, dangerous but sacred. It showed that true strength is not in cruelty, but in protection. It's not in domination, but in courage. As night fell across the savannah, children would listen to the distant rumble of lions echoing through the dark. To them, it was not frightening, but comforting. A reminder that the spirits of lions were awake, standing guard beneath the stars. And so, the lion spirit lived not only in the grasslands, but in the hearts of the people. To this day, it remains a symbol of courage, dignity, and protection. And as you drift into dreams, imagine a lion resting nearby, its golden mane glowing softly in moonlight, watching over you with quiet strength. Long before the rivers carved their paths through valleys, before the mountains stood tall against the sky, the world was formless and silent. Yet from this silence came the first stories, tales of creation told by Africa's ancient tribes. These stories, passed down through firelit nights, carried the whispers of gods and ancestors, explaining how life first began. Among the Ashanti people of West Africa, the great god Nyame ruled the heavens. The sky was filled with endless light, while below stretched the dark, empty earth. Nyame longed for life to bloom, and so he sent his children, the lesser gods, down to shape the world. They poured rivers like silver threads across the land, raised mountains like guardians, and planted trees that stretched upward in praise. Soon the once silent earth sang with the hum of creation. In Yoruba tradition, creation began with Olodumare, the supreme being. The earth was nothing but water stretching endlessly. Olodumare handed a snail shell filled with sand to the god Obatala, along with a hen. When Obatala poured the sand onto the water, the hen scratched at it, spreading the grains until land appeared. Hills rose, valleys dipped, and earth took its first shape. From this, Forests grew, animals roamed, and eventually, humans walked upon the soil. For the Yoruba people, every grain of sand, every blade of grass, was part of that sacred gift. Other tribes told of the sky and earth once being lovers, pressed closely together, with humans trapped in the darkness between them. Life struggled, cramped and without light. At last, the children of the earth pushed the sky away, raising it high above so they could breathe and move freely. From that day, the sky became the great ceiling, the earth, the floor, and between them humanity walked, blessed by both, yet free to live under the wide heavens. Though each tale was different, they shared the same truth. The world was born not by accident, but by intention. The rivers were placed with care, the mountains shaped with purpose, and the people created with love. Yes. To the ancients, every part of nature carried divine meaning. To walk barefoot upon the soil was to touch the hands of the gods. To look upon the stars was to see the eyes of ancestors watching kindly from above. These stories were told by elders in quiet villages, their voices gentle beneath the hum of insects and the crackle of the fire. Children listened with wide eyes, feeling the magic of beginnings seep into their dreams. For them, creation was not a distant past, but something alive, present in every sunrise, every flowing river, every breath of wind, and so, Africa's creation myths remind us that we are part of something vast, shaped by gods, held by earth, warmed by sky. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine the first dawn, when the world awoke in silence, then sang its first song, the song of life itself. Anansi, the spider, trickster of wisdom among the many heroes and tricksters of African folklore. None is more famous than Anansi the spider. Born of the Ashanti people of West Africa, Anansi is not a mighty warrior or a powerful king, but a small, clever creature. His strength lies not in muscle or weapons, but in his wit, his cunning, and his gift for storytelling. Round firelit nights, families told his tales with laughter, teaching lessons of wisdom hidden within his tricks. Anansi is often described as both spider and man, able to weave webs not only of silk, but of stories. In one tale, he desired to own all the world's wisdom. Nyame, the sky god, had placed wisdom inside a great pot and kept it hidden. And Anansi, curious and ambitious, begged to be allowed to hold it. The god agreed, perhaps amused, and gave the pot to him, wanting to keep wisdom all to himself. Anansi tied the pot to his belly and began to climb a tall tree to hide it at the top. But the pot made climbing clumsy, slipping and tangling as he struggled upward. His young son, watching below, called out, "Father, why not tie the pot to your back instead?" Realizing the advice was good, Anansi laughed. Could teach him something new, then wisdom could never belong to one being alone. Embarrassed but wiser, he spilled the contents of the pot across the world. And so wisdom scattered to every person. In other stories, Anansi tricks greater creatures, outsmarting leopards, snakes, and even death itself. He is greedy at times, mischievous and full of pride, but his tales always carry lessons. They remind listeners that cleverness can triumph over strength, but also that greed often leads to folly. Children laughed at his antics yet learned. At the same time, lessons wrapped inside humor, like treasures hidden in silk. Anansi is also remembered as the keeper of stories. One legend tells how Nyame, the sky god, kept all stories locked away. Anansi longed to bring them to the people, so he struck a bargain. He would capture 3 great challenges: the python, the leopard, and the swarm of hornets. Through trickery and wit, he succeeded, and in return, Nyame granted him all the world's tales. From that moment, Anansi became the storyteller of humankind. weaving myths as skillfully as he wove his web. For the Ashanti and many others, Anansi stories explained the world in ways both playful and profound. They taught that wisdom should be shared, not hoarded, that cleverness can protect the small, that laughter itself is a kind of magic. As you drift into sleep, imagine the little spider spinning his web beneath the stars, his 8 legs moving gracefully as he weaves stories across the night sky. His voice is soft but clever, reminding us that wisdom is everywhere in children, in tricksters, in laughter, and in the stories that carry us into dreams.